Happy Monday, everybody, and welcome back to the Engine Builder Show. On today's topic, our topic will be these entrepreneurial influencers are killing you and your business. Ooh, sounds like a really interesting topic we have today. If you'd like to hear Gabe touch more on that, sit back, relax, and enjoy the show. Good morning, everybody.
There was always a ton to learn. Good morning, everyone. Hope you had a great weekend, and maybe you celebrated Valentine's or you're celebrating today, so happy Valentine's. I wanted to talk about something that comes up for me periodically because I see, unfortunately, a lot of really bad influences in the entrepreneurial space. And I was actually I've talked to clients, I'll say, I'll keep it pretty generic, but I've talked to some clients who unfortunately have heard and applied some really bad advice from these quote unquote influencers in the entrepreneurial space that actually ends up physically killing them, which I'll explain, and killing their business. And that's something that I definitely want you to avoid. There's a lot of misinformation out there. And so my goal today is just for us to be upfront and candid about what actually works and what doesn't work, and how you can spot this bad advice that unfortunately floats, all over the place. So you may have heard, there's a couple influencers in particular, who I won't name, but you'll probably know who they are, who like to say that all you have to do to be successful is just 10x your output, do more, do more, do more, do more. Because if you're not successful, you're just not doing enough. And there's one guy that says that. There's another guy who literally says that if you're not getting results, you need to hustle harder, you need to grind more, you need to just, put in more time, do more effort. If you're posting, if you're not posting 3 or 4 times a day on social media, if you're not, reaching out to your audience over and over, then you're not going to be successful. And the message from people like this, a couple guys in particular, who I think honestly are idiots in what they speak about, they're actually fairly successful in business, but what they teach about is completely wrong and doesn't line up with their actual, business experience. But if you follow those things, there's a couple things that are going to happen, because I've seen plenty of people go through this. One, you're going to be following people who haven't actually applied what they're teaching. So there's the one individual who says, oh, you need to hustle more, you need to do more, you need to, post more, you just need to be out there more, you just need to be grinding, keep hustling. That person actually received millions of dollars from their parents, and so they had no need to actually hustle and bootstrap and grind. So what they tell you has nothing to do with their personal experience and actually doesn't work. And the problem is, if we take advice like that, it would be the same thing as me, speaking of Valentine's Day, it'd be the same thing as me saying to you, oh, okay, this first batch of cupcakes that you made really suck. You didn't do all of them. You're not a good baker. So you know what you need to do? You need to make 10 times the amount of cupcakes, just 10x the batch next time you do it, and everything's going to work out fine. If you were putting 3 cups of flour in, put 30 in. If you were going to, do all this, if you could just put more of the ingredients in, then that's going to be really successful. That's all you have to do. And so if anybody's ever cooked anything or baked anything or done anything that takes some practice and expertise, if you screw up the first time, the remedy is not to just 10x your input. That's not going to solve anything if you don't know what you're doing. Sorry. The other thing is, if you just continue to just do more activity will not necessarily make you better at what you're doing. So again, back to the baking analogy, if you're a baker that makes really crappy cupcakes and they don't come out good and they don't taste good, you can just keep doing more of that and you'll continue to suck at it. Or you can find another master baker who can teach you. You can apprentice under them. You can actually go out and read and study. You can actually take a break from being in the kitchen, and you can step back and pause your work and reflect on what's going on and see if that's going to make any difference. But this attitude or this behavior of putting more into something or working longer, is not really going to help you. And what happens is those messages of hustle more, 10x everything you're doing, all of those things, they kind of, in my experience, they trigger like this heroic attitude in entrepreneurs and in people of, oh, I just need to work hard. I just need to do more. I just have to conquer this thing. And so that heroic nature of it makes it sound attractive and actually accurate and effective, but it's not. What happens is, and I've coached people like this, and it makes me really sad, is I see people that, start their own business, and instead of getting the freedom of time and money that they want, they actually end up working, 18, 20 plus hours a day, and their health deteriorates. Their relationship with their partner, their spouse deteriorates. They end up just, they think if I do more, I'm going to make more. And then when I sit down and break down the math with them, what happens is they realize that they're making less as an entrepreneur than they did at their day job. They go from saying, I want to make all this money, or I want to be worth X per hour. Exactly, Edwin, that is the definition of insanity. They say, they say, I'm going to be this consultant, or I'm going to be this coach, or I'm going to start my own business. And then when I figured out they're making like 20, 30, $40 an hour. And they could make more than that if they just went back and got a 9-to-5 job. That's not a lot of money as an entrepreneur. And so when you're doing that, one, you're not making any money. You're actually not building a business. You're buying a job that's made you a slave to the job. It's a terrible, terrible, situation. And on top of that, you're not sleeping enough, you're not taking care of yourself, you're not spending time with your family, and so you're actually physically killing yourself because you're not sleeping enough, taking good care of yourself. And so all of these things end up being really, really bad ideas. So it's really important that we are careful and choose to follow people that have structure, have routine, have repeatable results, and have been able to do what they're teaching you to do multiple times. All of us, I think, have unintentionally followed bad influences or people that really aren't credible. I've done that in the past accidentally, but now I'm really intentional to try to say, okay, who can I follow that's consistently been showing up, that really teaches things that align with my personal values of spending time with my family, wanting my business to grow, independent of me having to do all the work, and things like that. And I follow people that have repeatedly build businesses on top of the structure and routine and the processes that they teach. And so that's really key. And so as entrepreneurs, we're looking for freedom of time and money. And so our behavior, how we operate as an entrepreneur, as a leader, is going to have to grow and change, and is going to have to really be driven by effective behavior. And I always like to compare those noisy people that I feel like just spit a lot when they talk, because they have to talk so fast to, make you, ramped up and excited with what they're talking about. If you compare those folks that yes, they are unfortunately influencing people, but they're not real influencers, because what they're teaching is not going to last. If I compare them to somebody like Jeff Bezos, who he gets up, around 6:30, spends time with his kids, makes them breakfast, hangs out at home, reads the news, does what he wants to, and at 10 o'clock gets to the office. And then he actually has a couple of hours during the day in his office where he has no meetings, so he can think and process and plan ahead and be strategic. He's not hustling and grinding and trying to be super busy. And the other thing is, by 5 o'clock, he wraps up the day and he's like, whatever I didn't get done today, I'll do tomorrow. That's, I've read that account of him multiple times. Or if you look at somebody like Bill Gates, he ends up, he takes at least a week off every year, no devices, no phone, just to sit and think. He doesn't have to, in order to be successful, he knows he doesn't have to just grind and grind and grind. And I would agree. Edwin, yes. So yeah, it's like when we look at people that are actually successful, they take time to be really strategic and think through what they want to do next. They're not just telling you, work harder, do more. Activity doesn't equal success all the time. We do have to engage in activity to gain experiences and move forward and do things that, can move us forward. But again, like back to the baking analogy, like if you're really crappy at baking cupcakes, putting more of the same ingredients in is not going to make you better at it. There's nothing, it's just not the case. The same is definitely true as entrepreneurs and as leaders. And so my encouragement to you today is be really careful who you follow, and actually do thorough research and understand who they are and see if they actually are giving good advice. Many of them don't actually live out anything they say that that you should live out. And their history proves that what they're saying isn't actually true. So be very careful about who you choose to follow, and follow people that are aligned with the actual outcomes you want, aligned with being able to spend time with your loved ones, having a business that doesn't require all your time, and things like that. And just really take your time to consider who you're going to allow into your life to influence your business, because I have, in all reality, seen the bad advice that I've seen other entrepreneurs take. It kills them. They get sick, their business shrinks, things are not working, and it will actually put them in the grave if you follow that quote unquote popular wisdom out there. So that was my message for today, because I've seen a lot of that, and just it kind of popped up again for me last week with some things that I've seen. And I want you to actually be able to achieve, freedom of time and freedom of money by having structure, by having a routine, by having the actual supports in place to make your business successful. And part of that is, again, being strategic in what you do and strategic in what you outsource and hand off to other people. So if you need help with anything, obviously we're here to guide you and support you and serve you in any way we can. You can find us at businessmarketingengine.com, and I will see you tomorrow.